Hello and welcome to the weekend edition of National Focus. I'm Pearl Fontaine. Thank you for joining us. Topping the headlines, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit joined several world leaders in Venezuela to pay respects to President Chavez. We will bring you scenes from a local memorial service held in honor of President Hugo Chavez, and debates on supplementary estimates officially ended on Friday. All these stories and more when National Focus returns.
Documentaries and in-depth discussions, community walkthroughs, and Yes We Care. See it all on GIS Channel 7.
Welcome back. Time now for the details of the news. Dominica's Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, a close friend of the late Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez, joined hundreds of thousands of mourners, including several world leaders in Venezuela's capital, Caracas, on Friday to honor fallen President Hugo Chavez in a state funeral. Friday's funeral at the military academy where Chavez has been lying in state began with Venezuela's National Youth Orchestra singing the national anthem. World leaders, including Cuban President Raul Castro and Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, were among the 32 heads of state who attended the funeral. During the ceremony, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Raul Castro, President of Cuba, Daniel Ortega, President of Nicaragua, Rafael Correa, President of Ecuador, Ralph Gonsalves, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, among other members of the ALBA grouping, made up the first guard of honor around the coffin. Vice President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, said on Thursday that President Chavez's remains will be specially embalmed and laid to rest in glass casing so he can be kept on view eternally to inspire future generations. The president's initial resting place will be an army post in the mountain overlooking Caracas, where President Chavez launched his first coup in 1992. The command post is being converted into a museum of the revolution. Meantime, the official swearing-in of President Chavez's interim successor, Nicolas Maduro, also took place on Friday following the funeral service. And Dominicans and Venezuelans here held their own service to remember the life of the deceased President Hugo Chavez Frias, who passed away on Tuesday, March 5th. The service, which was officiated by Monsignor Eustace Thomas, was held at the St. Alphonsus Catholic Church on Thursday evening. In his homily, Monsignor Thomas focused on the mortality of the human race.
Hugo Chavez has left us a tremendous legacy because of his love and passion for his people. I want us to understand that Hugo, like our Prime Minister, had a passion for his people, and defying all odds and notwithstanding the fact that he, like us, may have erred, he proved that the good he has done outweighed his mistakes. St. James reminds us of the importance of going beyond words, which should be translated into action. For faith without words is insufficient.
Acting Prime Minister Honorable Julius Timothy, during the special church service, spoke about the relationship between Dominica and President Chavez. Honorable Timothy described the late president as a selfless visionary.
President Chavez was a household name here, admired and loved for the special friendship he had developed with Dominicans from all walks of life. His was a friendship that stood the test of time. He had a profound understanding of the causes of underdevelopment in countries that had experienced the yoke of colonialism. He was therefore aware of the issues confronting Dominica as we face the challenge or providing a comfortable standard of living for ourselves. His caring and sensitivity to our needs always elicited a positive response. As a matter of fact, he was sometimes ahead of us, especially after a local disaster, when he would call the Honorable Prime Minister offering assistance even before we had time to assess the magnitude of the loss we had suffered.
The acting Prime Minister, who referred to the President's death as heart-wrenching, also compared him to Saint Francis de Assisi with this well-known prayer.
I can find no better way to capture what Hugo Chavez represented to most of us than in the words attributed to Saint Francis of Assisi. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Our friend Hugo is dead. May he be born to eternal life, and may he rest in the peace of Christ.
Francisco Anzola, who is the chief minister at the Venezuelan embassy, said a few words on behalf of the institution. He encouraged persons to consider the untimely death of his president as a call to continue the work started by Hugo Chavez.
But we say that the president died, or in polite words, he passed away. Well, the real fact is the man died. But rather than think about that, I think he was kind of recalled. God may have said something like, Hugo, you're done. Good job, my child. Come up here. Let the other guy that stay there still harvest, keep on fertilizing and harvest what you planted. And for us, our job now to keep on moving and keep on in motion the vehicle he gave some velocity or energy. We kind of lost the engine or the motor that was moving that thing, but it's our job now to find a strength to keep on moving that car.
A very emotional Anzola emphasized that President Chavez's legacy is one of advocating for the less fortunate.
People start talking about his legacy. Scholars, political analysts will try to interpret, try to pick from whatever happened the last 12 years, what, or maybe more, a lot more, 20 years, what he tried to do. But nobody can tell us now, because we know better what he did. He came here with some ideas, and he tried to, well, actually in this polarization, he took part, he took side. He dared to go to the side of poor people and give them hope, and he told all of us that looks like there is a way that poor people can have a life, a better life, to both sides. He argued with the, well, we could say, rich people, and telling them what's going on the other side.
A Cuatro band of the Venezuelan Institute performed a rendition of the deceased president's favorite song at the memorial service. The ceremony was attended by the President of Dominica, His Excellency Eliud Williams, and Mrs. Williams, former President Dr. Nicholas Liverpool and his wife, members of cabinet, civil servants, representatives of the Venezuelan, Brazilian and Chinese community, as well as other Dominican citizens. The persistent message of the service was that a selfless and charitable man has gone on to a better place. In other news, the efforts by the Ministry of Agriculture to contain the spread of the black sigatoka on the island have been praised by Parliamentary Representative for the St. Joseph constituency, Honourable Kelva Daru. He says farmers in his constituency have been affected by the dreaded fungal disease affecting the banana and plantain subsector.
I want to commend the Ministry of Agriculture for ensuring that they took proactive measures to ensure that the black sigatoka was dealt with and is being contained. And throughout my constituency, several farms were sprayed because of the infection of the fungal disease, the black sigatoka. And we have hard working farmers in this area, Mr. Speaker. Farmers who leave their beds early in the morning. Some of them walk up to their farms, and some of them spend the entire day at their farms. And to see that because of one disease, the entire farming industry could be destroyed, you have to ensure that you have measures in place. And that is what this government has done. And again, Mr. Speaker, we saw our close friends in Venezuela coming to the aid and ensuring that we had the necessary equipment and oil to spray and to relieve and to ensure that the black sigatoka was controlled. And I want to thank the Ministry of Agriculture, the Minister and his staff for this, Mr. Speaker.
The Ministry of Agriculture in the last 6 months has spent over $600,000 in containing and managing the spread of the black sigatoka disease on the island. Meantime, DLP Senator Honourable Dayton Baptist has challenged the parliamentary representative for the Marigot constituency, Honourable Edison James, to do more to represent the interest of the people whom he represents in Parliament.
I am not the parliament. And Mr. Speaker, if you go around Marigot and see what I have been doing, you would not believe. Mr. Speaker, the opposition, they are there to do the work that the people are paying them to do. But Mr. Speaker, they are not doing it. And I have a passion for my people. And I will continue to do and to serve and to represent my people. Mr. Speaker, I believe that one of the reasons, again, why we don't get help in Marigot, Mr. Speaker, is because when for the member for Marigot to be present around the table to get a piece of the pie, they're outside criticizing and opposing the things that will help to eradicate poverty among us.
Senator Baptiste encouraged members of the opposition to exhibit a more positive attitude toward bringing positive development to the people. He took time to speak to some initiatives which he has undertaken in the interest of the people of the Marigot constituency.
I heard the opposition talking about 50 years it take the Labour Party to do this and 50. Mr. Speaker, it took me 3 years. 3 years to get road and light up in Will Valley. I'm not the parliament. Mr. Speaker, it took me 3 years to bring hard doctors here to help our people. I am not the parliament. And I want to inform this House that in May, come May, we will have more doctors here. And it's free. It's free. You all you can always come and check your heart just the same. Mr. Speaker, at this present time, if not around the airport, Mr. Speaker, if you go there now, you'd find a clearing around the airport to beautify. I am not the parliament, but because I have a love for my country and my people, I try to have some pride to improve our condition in Margaret.
And finally, the Roosevelt-Skerritt administration has been relentless in its quest to educate Dominica's human resource. Every community across the length and breadth of the island has been touched by government's one university graduate per household education policy. To that end, the Roosevelt-Skerritt-led administration has forged a productive alliance with the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela and has successfully secured scholarships for Dominicans wishing to pursue studies in that country. Through the relationship between the governments of Dominica and Venezuela, scores of young men and women have traveled to Venezuela with a view of earning a university education. One of those students is Liz Cuffey. Liz graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Tourism Management in Venezuela and is now a marketing officer at the Discover Dominica Authority.
I work as a marketing assistant in the marketing department, whereby I provide a strong support to the marketing team, to the head of marketing and the marketing executive in achieving our objectives, which are to promote and market the destination internationally, regionally and locally. And we do so for various forms, for PRs, attending trade shows, e-marketing, hosting farm trips to travel writers, journalists. So therefore we come up with different strategies, activities and campaign to reach our target audience, potential visitors. So all my work basically is aligned to that. And of course, which is aligned to the overall objective of the organization, which is to increase visitors' arrival and visitors' spend to the destination.
Liz is satisfied that she is employed directly in her field of choice.
For what I can say, that most of the courses that I studied, as I said, most times I get to put it into practice. The only aspects I would say, though, maybe I don't get enough opportunity to practice my Spanish or to interact with Spanish visitors.
This university graduate says she loves her job for the opportunities it provides for her to be creative. She considers it a perfect fit for her personality and study field.
De español, quiero decir muchas gracias al gobierno de Dominica y el gobierno de Venezuela por la oportunidad de estudiar en Venezuela. Muchas gracias, es un placer. So what I said basically is thanks to the government of Dominica and Venezuela for the opportunity to study in Venezuela. Thank you very much, it was a pleasure.
Cuffey also expressed how grateful she is for the opportunity afforded her by the governments of Venezuela and Dominica.
I'm happy for the knowledge that I have gained and the fact that my studies were completed with little or no cost to me. So that is gratifying and of course rewarding.
Liz is only one of 120 Dominicans who have traveled to Venezuela to pursue university educations in an effort to contribute in their own way to nation building. And that's the English segment of the news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Alors tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, on a mis en mémoire ancien président Venezuela, défunt Hugo Chavez, pour place en l'église Saint-Alphonsus Jédi. Officier gouvernement, Embassy Venezuela, membre diplomatique corps, moun Venezuela qui vivent en Dominique, en parmi d'autres, attendez Gouan la mesla, qui t'en prêche l'évangile, hors Monseigneur Justus Thomas, président Chavez qui mort semaine là, qu'a trouvé cadavre préservé à dans un muséum où la monde qui s'est visité, qu'a gardé à dans en glace qui en l'air séché. Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt-Skerritt attendait lettrement président Chavez vendredi. En même temps aussi, message la peine la mort Chavez contenu hors membre parlement Dominique pendant parlementaire en session. Membre parlement pour Saint-Joseph, Honorable Kelvin Darrow, qui a bien changé président Chavez comme un président qui était autant charismatique et puis yon qui était un marque bien fort en la terre. Et des Dominicains qui autant ni grâce pour président Chavez, manière y assister Dominique et puis développement. Plaisir d'autres membres parlement one même sentiment ça là en parmi Honorable Ashland Grano, Sénateur Alvin Bernard, Honorable Sam Martin et puis Honorable Rayburn Blackmore. En notre nouvelle, ministère énergie, Honorable Rayburn Blackmore, attendait grand meeting ministère énergie qui prend place en Trinidad. Si l'homme ministère Blackmore polisi ka gouverne NRG pour CARICOM te à tête en meeting ça.
Le pile place CARICOM qui a fait un effort pour développer le secteur énergie. Et c'est fournir un policy document en place pour guider. Ça nous fait Trinidad comme ça monter chairman meeting ça. Nous approuve ces ministres là approuve document ça. Et le document là approuvé pour aller joindre ce que CARICOM heads premier ministre CARICOM là. Et bien pour nous donc c'est bien important comme ça nous avons fait un effort pour développer géothermal. Et bien un document ça même pas projet ça en Dominique support. Et bien où ça nous pile payer en CARICOM ni pour import ça que diesel. Et bien il est bien cher pour nous en Dominique, il est bien cher pour nous en Sainte-Lucie, il est bien cher pour nous en Grenade. So ça nous avons travaillé faire nous en place contre Trinidad, Suriname, Belize, nous avons l'huile, et puis ça qui est natural gas. So il faut faire un effort pour développer le secteur ça. Nous en Dominique pas natural gas et bien l'huile. Ça nous c'est potentiel géothermique. So après nous avons bien avancé en Caraïbes là en projet ça. Et bien tout de suite ça nous avons travaillé faire c'est pour bâtir un petit plan. So petit plan ça que faire c'était nous en Dominique qui dépend moins à l'huile. So puis énergie à Dominique qui est plus bas pour nous en Caillou et qui est plus bas pour place business. Et bien nous try attracter aussi plus business pour créer employment pour nous en Dominique. Et bien nous l'espoir en même façon à Trinidad qui fait bien, en même façon en l'autre place qui fait bien, puis c'est l'huile et natural gas. Dominique qui fait bien à Bagan géothermal pour nous avancer Dominique.
À la nouvelle, ministre Telecoms Honorable Ambrose George a créé à NTRC pour conduire le programme trainement pour plus business IXP en Dominique. Ça c'est Internet Exchange Point. Honorable George fait parole cela au ligne des 3 compagnies Internet qui lancent IXP en Dominique. Et puis finalement, on chimère sans créer Link Road en communauté Bioche, qui fait plus aisé pour les résidents de la communauté ça la chaper au danger si en tous les cas. Projet ça la bâti par Sidema, qu'on passe soulagement si en tous les cas est en désastre. Exécutif directeur Sidema Jeremy Collymore, qui était assis en visite officielle à Dominique, visité le projet la semaine passée. Collymore fait parole qui était bien satisfait de projet ça la bâti. Quand même, ministre de la Sécurité nationale, Honorable Charles Savren, qui aussi visité le projet là, fait parole qui est bien encouragé pour bénéficier de ça quand mené bas communauté ça et spécialement en temps de désastre. Sidema aussi conduit un assessment vulnérable pour communauté en Bioche. Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson Luce. Et un bon week-end. Au revoir.
Thank you, McPherson. We now join Tanya Green for this week's edition of Flashback.
Thank you, Pearl. Here now are the major stories which made the news this week. Rosamond Roberts was sworn in as the new chairperson of the Trafalgar Shawford Forcani Village Council. Roberts and 7 other councillors were officially sworn in during the council's 6th inaugural meeting last Friday at the Trafalgar Community Centre. A storm drain project which was constructed in the Fontaine community a few years ago continues to protect that community during heavy rains. Government's health information system was recently enhanced with the receipt of $400,000 worth of medical equipment. The Social Centre on Monday joined 3 other institutions on the island in launching the Agana program, which is expected to transform the lives of more young people in Dominica. And a debate on the supplementary estimates of expenditure for the financial year ending June 30th, 2012, continued by government and opposition parliamentarians when the parliament continued this week. Government parliamentarians gave support to the supplementary appropriation of $11,634,484.03. And the physical structure of the Dubla Bioche Primary School was recently enhanced to allow it to serve as a community shelter in times of disaster. The school enhancement project involved upgrading washroom facilities, installing new shutters, painting of school walls, and the erection of a fence. Tourism officials this week met with bus drivers and vendors who operate along the west end of the banks of the Rosa River. The meeting formed a part of planned consultations with stakeholders who will be affected by the proposed Rosa River Promenade. Venezuelans began 7 days of mourning on Tuesday after the announcement of the death of their president Hugo Chavez. President Chavez was 58 when he passed away after a long battle with cancer. And Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, in his address to the nation Tuesday night, described the deceased leader as a true friend of Dominica. A memorial mass in honor of President Chavez was held at the St. Alphonsus Roman Catholic Church on Thursday. And these were the major stories which made the news this week. It's now back to you, Pearl.
Thank you, Tanya. When we come back, we'll bring you the tip of the day. March 8 is International Women's Day, a day to celebrate women's advancements in society and promote opportunities for success for women around the world who are less fortunate. Why celebrate, you say? Sometimes we take equality, freedom, and the opportunity to receive an education or a job for granted. By celebrating International Women's Day, you can recognize women who have given us those rights, as well as raise awareness and make these privileges possible for millions of women worldwide. Did you know that 26 million women are born every year? Millions without access to proper health care, food, clean water, or an education? Did you know that 70% of the world's poor are women? Did you know that 60% of women and girls worldwide experience physical or sexual abuse in their lifetime? Well, here's how you can celebrate women. Host a get-together party with other women, friends, family, or teachers in your community, just to celebrate each other. And that's all for today's National Focus. We welcome your suggestions and comments. Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website at news.gov.dm. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Pearl Fontaine. Thank you for watching and have a great weekend.